Good afternoon and welcome to Real Talk with Tamara. As you guys come into the room, please do hit the like button. Also, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. I hope that you guys are doing okay on this afternoon. I know that I am. I always express the importance of hitting the like button because the like button helps to keep the video in the algorithm. Okay, so like, share, subscribe, comment, all of those great things. Okay. Um, as I said, if you want to support the channel, you could do support the channel via super thanks or super chat, okay? Or cash app. I'm sorry. I want you guys to know how much I appreciate you so much as you all be patient with me. I know I don't get on here as much as I used to, but I've had other things going on outside of here. So even when I'm tired and stuff, I try to make sure I get in at least one video a day until we can get back to regular. And it looks like getting back to regular is going to be um maybe around the winter months, okay? But we still gonna be on here doing our thing. I'm still gonna do breaking news and stuff like that wherever I'm at. I'm gonna log in. I'm gonna take my laptop. I'm gonna keep up with everything that's going on around the Memphis area and other areas in entertainment, because we talk about a lot of other stuff too, and we're definitely gonna start getting into talking about other stuff um in other areas because there's a lot going on in the entertainment business, right? I know that the Young Dolls case is gonna kick up too. Hey, we'll do updates and stuff on that, and other things that I have in mind, but just kind of bear with me because like I said, I've been working like a Hebrew slave, okay? Aside from trying to do stuff around my house, doing some things that I wanted to do for myself, right? But I enjoy being on here with you guys so much. Okay, I do. So we're gonna keep it going, and I'm gonna try my best to drop some more videos today. If I can, I'm gonna try and go live tonight if I can. I don't know if I can, but I'm gonna try if time permits. Okay. Um, but I wanted to talk about the team that had been charged in the unaliving of the police officer will be charged as an adult, and the father of the teen that was involved in the unaliving of the unalive, they're saying now that it was friendly fire, which means that one of his co-workers did it. His father wants to know if his son actually fired first. Okay, so I want to talk about all of that, okay? Because I found this situation extremely interesting, right? As I said, I remember when something similar happened before, and it happened with Young Turk. Y'all know Young Turk um, from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I was working for the Memphis Police Department around that time, and um, it ended up being that the sheriff's office went in there, right? And I think because a officer was involved, Memphis Police Department, because those are two different agencies, ended up questioning him. Um, yeah, that's what ended up happening. And when Lil Turk came up there at the time, he was extremely at that time, he was on some type of I wanna I don't I wanna say I believe, I don't know if it's true, but he was on something, that's true, but I believe it was heroin. I'm not sure of the paraphernalia, but he was definitely like tweaking and out of his mind and stuff and falling asleep and shaking and stuff. So he was not in a condition to even be questioned. I remember the investigators having to consistently walk him and stuff. So just based up on that, I'm surprised that it was not thrown out. But Turk had people to help him with lawyers' fees, and that was thrown out. It was found that that was friendly fire. That officer did not die. Okay, but I think they was trying to charge him with that. So I'm glad that that was found out. But that was it later on. But the good thing about this is that this was found out early on, right? It's still an unfortunate situation because the young man, the 18-year-old young man, lost his life. The officer has lost his life. Okay, and I want to talk about that. So, but they're saying that the 17-year-old is going to be charged as an adult, and I'm gonna talk about that too because I think about everything that's going on, and I want to talk about that as it relates to the juveniles because the 17-year-old is still considered a juvenile. Okay. It says 17-year-old, okay, charged with the unaliving an officer's death. Other officers face no charges. Okay. Let's look at this first. Okay, let's look at this first. Well, I read it. It says, according to Shelby County DA's office, the nine Memphis police officers who were put on leave following a shootout that unalived an officer and a suspect will not be prosecuted. The DA also announced new charges for a 17-year-old suspect, second-degree unaliving and reckless homicide. Those charges are in addition to 43 counts the team was served with earlier this week. The DA's office said it intends to try him as an adult, which could result in a sentence upward of 300 years. These officers out there did an outstanding job, as best they could do, Sergeant Matt Cunningham, president of Memphis Police Association, said earlier this week. They simply had to react and do what they did in the moment, okay, as a result of the actions of the suspect, okay? And the young man's father is the 18-year-old that was unalive. His father, if you all could see that, I want to make sure that when that popped up so that you all could see. Okay, you all could see it. His father, hold on, you guys, wants to know if his son hit at the officers first. Okay, that's what his father wants to know. Hold on one second, y'all. Let's look at this.
Shootout with two teens in Southwest Memphis last week will be charged. But the 17-year-old allegedly involved is now facing additional charges. MPD officer Joseph McKinney died after he was shot last Friday, and we still don't know if he was killed by friendly fire.
Well, today, the district attorney's office said, quote, although current information indicates friendly fire, we believe the 17-year-old's reprehensible actions are still the real cause of Officer McKinney's death. And today, new charges against 17-year-old Devin Taylor, who is still in the hospital right now. The DA's office says he is now facing additional charges of second-degree murder and reckless homicide. Now, the 18-year-old suspect who died in the shooting, we know, has been identified as Jalen Lobley.
The Memphis Police Association has been waiting closely to see if any officers would face charges in this case. We talked to MPA's president this morning as that decision was being made.
I don't anticipate any charges against officers in this case.
The head of the Memphis Police Association, Matt Cunningham, says 9 Memphis police officers have been relieved of duty with pay since last Friday's shooting that killed police officer Joseph McKinney.
There's nothing unusual about that whatsoever, and that's just pending the outcome of the investigation, both internal and TBI. These officers haven't been suspended. They haven't been terminated. They haven't been disciplined in any way. It's strictly procedural.
He says the officers are at home and will be debriefed about what they saw and have a chance to talk with a psychologist, especially since getting the news McKinney may have been killed by an officer's bullet.
That's weighing extremely heavily on the officers involved. And so, you know, they're having to deal with the stress.
13 officers were there that night. Cunningham says the other 4 officers' involvement didn't rise to the level where they needed to be relieved of duty.
You know, we had 13 officers on the scene and we had 2 suspects at 2:30 in the morning, and you can imagine blue lights flashing and loud noises, and you know the cacophony, the chaos of the scene is immense.
He says the officers had gotten several calls earlier in the night about a suspicious car in the area.
They located the vehicle. The vehicle was occupied by the 2 suspects that were in it, and they perceived a threat. So they called for additional backup, and that led to what transpired.
He says 2 other officers also hit by gunfire are among the 9 relieved of duty. but he doesn't know if their injuries are from friendly fire. But he says the teens did have weapons.
I can tell you they were armed and that shots were fired that night, but who fired first, I don't know.
And one thing he is adamant about.
Regardless, what happened on the scene that night was the result of the suspects' actions. They made the decision to become violent with police, and police had to respond.
Okay. Okay, that's what the MPA, he's over the Memphis Police Association, that's the union. Let's go to see what the young man's father has to say. Yeah, the 18-year-old father, 18-year-olds who was taken out father has to say. Okay. Let's see what he has to say about this. You guys, make sure you guys please hit the like button for me. You know, I'm waiting for the commercials to come and go.
Of an 18-year-old killed in a shootout with Memphis police that resulted in the death of Officer Joseph McKinney. That family is speaking out. That's Jalen Lobley you're looking at there. He died at Regional 1 after police say he and another teen opened fire on police, and then police fired back.
Fox 13's Jack Bilyeu joins us live at MPD's Rains precinct tonight. Jack, I know that you spoke with the suspect's father. He says he wants the full story.
Yeah, you know, investigators say that 18-year-old Jalen Lobley was behind the wheel of a stolen car when that shootout happened early Friday morning. Tonight, his father says he wants body cam footage of that shootout released so he can see exactly what happened. Now, Lobley's father spoke to Fox 13 after learning that the DA's office believes Officer McKinney was killed by friendly fire. Investigators say shots were fired from the car Lobley and the other suspect were in. Then officers returned fire. Lobley and Officer McKinney were killed. The other suspect was hospitalized with serious injuries. Lobley's father had this to say about the case.
No, my son know not to shoot at the police. That's like a suicide mission. And my son had plenty of sense, you know.
So, you know, even with this conversation about the friendly fire that they said last night, the police do still claim that your son, do you know the teen he was with, the 17-year-old?
I don't know him at all.
They claim that they opened fire first.
Right, but all I'm asking for, if that's what happened, if what y'all accused him of, just show me. And I can't argue with video.
Now, when that shootout happened, Lobley had just been released from jail on his own recognizance for an incident back in March where he was accused of stealing cars and having a Glock with a machine gun switch. Now, I'm putting together much more from our interview with his father for tonight at 10. Darcy?
That is Fox 13's Jack Bilyeu report.
Okay, as we can see, the teen's father is wanting to make sure that his son had fired first. Now, hey, I can understand, you know, when you are a parent, you have all of those emotions, and this is a big case, and you have the 17-year-old that is they're looking at giving him 300 years. Hey, I kind of have mixed emotions about that because although I feel like that hey, I know that the officers did whether he fired a first shot or not. If they saw a weapon and the weapon was pointed at them, whether he fired the first shot or not, they had an obligation to take down the threat because he was a threat to the officer. That is the law. Uniform, not just in Memphis, all the way across the board as it relates to any police agency, right? So they had weapons. They do have on body cams, just like they was forthcoming with, they believe that it was friendly fire with the officer. Hey, they have body cams. They'll be able to see even if they fired first or not. If the weapons were pointed at them, they were still a threat to the officers, and they had an obligation to take down the threat. Hey, I hate all of this happen, even as it relates to the 18-year-old that lost his life. Definitely the officer that lost his life, right? But they're giving the 17-year-old 400 years or something like that. Hey, the man can't die but one time, right? And so they want to give him, they're looking at giving him all of these years, but you have all of these juveniles out there that are just like these young men, right? That they let right back out. Now, I'm not saying that he should not be charged as an adult. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be punished. He should be punished. Okay, he should be. But what I'm saying is that you have like I said, these juveniles that go to jail. Okay, they've set the atmosphere for a lot of stuff. I'm talking about a lot of the politicians around Memphis, especially as it relates to the judicial system, whereas it is a revolving door. These teenagers and stuff, they do the very ultimate. They have led them to believe that Memphis, or not to believe, they've been showing everyone that Memphis is like a lawless city. You can do whatever you want to and then get out. Okay. They call the juvenile court Judge Sugar Daddy, even though his name is Judge Sugarman. That's what these juveniles do, because they can attempt to take your life. They can rob you. They can do whatever they want to, right? And nothing is going to happen. So I'm not giving any excuses, but they've set the atmosphere for that. Hey, I do feel like that the teen should be punished. As far as the father, I'm sure everybody's in their emotions. When you lose your child, anybody would be hurt about that. But the point of the matter is get away from over there. The point of the matter is that those teens posed a threat to an officer, and no shots would have been fired, right? No shots would have been fired if they had not created that atmosphere. Okay, if they had not created that atmosphere, right? So if you ask me, of course, by law, they are still responsible for what happened to the officer. Okay, they're still responsible for what happened to the officer, because the aim, if it was friendly fire, the aim was not at the officer by another officer. Okay, it wasn't. I don't know until they show the video of how they was able to hit him, right? But stuff like that has happened before, where officers are shooting at a target and one officer may move. Like I said, something similar had happened with Turk, except for Turk didn't have a gun. That's why I'm glad they've been forthcoming with it earlier on this time, because I think the sheriff's office actually tried to put it on Turk. The thing about it is Turk was not in the closet with the weapon. Okay, Turk ran into the closet, from my understanding, when that situation happened with him years ago. He was in Memphis, right? Because he was scared. They did like a drug bust on the house or something like that, and he ran in there because he was scared. Get back over there, because he was scared. And they actually tried to, I think they was going to try and frame him, but those charges were dropped and everything. So I'm happy that happened. But as far as these teens, it appears definitely pose a threat to the officers. Like I said, I do think there should be some retribution, and it should not be a light sentence. But they're talking about looking at 300 years, but a lot of times they up those charges like that, because a lot of those charges, when they go to trial and stuff, will be thrown out. His lawyer will get a lot of those thrown out. But hey, as far as the teen's father, I don't blame them for wanting to know more. And I can't say they have not seen the video, because there is a video as it relates to that, right? Because they have to wear body cams, and they have video of what happened, and they have to have cameras also in the windshield of their car, right? So they have body cams on them, and they have cams in their vehicles. So everything was captured. So anyways, like I said, hey, do I believe that the teens are responsible if they aggressively had weapons and they pointed those weapons at the officers? Rather they fired shots first or not, they pose a threat to the officers, right? So by law, they had a responsibility to take down the threat. So, hey, like I said, it's a sad situation either way it goes. You know, somebody has lost their son. Um, Someone has lost their son, even with the officer and their husband and their father. And it's a lose-lose situation, you know. And so I think at this time now, you know, instead of people pointing fingers, what we have to start doing now is start dealing with things of this nature. Okay, when teens and when young adults are pulled over and they have this mentality of F the police, I'm a shoot the police, I'm a do this. This is the time now to start reversing those thoughts, okay? So that things like this won't continue on. Because when we start trying to point the finger and trying to coddle wrong, right? We start trying to coddle wrong, then this behavior is perpetuated, and then things of this nature happens again, and they can't win. Okay, they can't win. If you lose your life, you've lost. So perpetuating this and you're losing your children, you lose, right? So I think what we have to do is start changing the atmosphere of wanting to uphold wrong just because you don't like law enforcement. If you're pulled, if a officer asks you to get out of your car and they pull you over, you need to get out. If you pull a gun, they're going to take the threat down. Okay. Whatever, you was just scared. They don't give a damn about you, whether you was scared or not. You have posed a threat to that officer with your aggression. They don't know what he wasn't gonna really take him down. They don't know what he was gonna do. He had a weapon. Just like if it happened to you or out, if somebody point a weapon at us, I gotta believe that the person is pointing that weapon at me to hurt me, right? That's what I gotta believe. And you better believe it too. Hell. But hey, anyways, I wanted to, you know, talk about that because I didn't get the opportunity to talk about that. And I'm looking at some people have pulled up pictures of the young man. Let me see. Right here of him holding money, and he looks just like his dad too, the young man. I guess that's the young man that was taken out. Okay. It's sad. Okay, it is. Let me see. The Honorable Christopher Ingram Jr., General Sessions Court. It says, I talked to our DAC Mulroy. He is frustrated. His office asked for $150,000 bond on Jalen Lobley in March. A $10,000 bond was set instead. Then another judicial commissioner, Chris Ingram, appears to have violated the rules and released the soon-to-be cop unaliver, Jalen Lobley, on no bond. This was terrible and led to the unaliving of him and the Memphis police officer. And I think this may be him right here. With the commissioner, I don't want to put a picture up if it's not him. It looks like he just had a little bit more weight on him right there. I'm not sure, but it looks like he had, you know, already been in and out of trouble and stuff, and he's had some gang activities and stuff going on. Okay. Hey, like I said, I think it's a sad situation all the way across the board. But you have to pay for your actions, right? And this will be the opportunity for us to not uphold wrong and tell our young adults, you do not pull out your weapons, okay? If a police officer pulls you over, right? Not unless, you know, you want something to happen to them. You want them to take the threat down, and then you try and sue the police department to get some money. I mean, that's the only thing I could see. Okay. I don't know, but I think we got to start doing it right. Okay, that's what I think, right? But anyways, you guys, I wanted to talk about that. I want you guys to please like, share, and subscribe. If you would like to support the channel, you could definitely support the channel via Cash App.